Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 Ultra Guile figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about Guile, so that if you've been thinking about picking one up for yourself, or if you've got one on pre-order and wondering whether to keep that pre-order in or not, you'll have enough thorough information to make a decision as to whether this guy is worthy of your hard-earned cash or not. I'm going to give you a quick peek at the packaging and then get into the figure itself, talk about the aesthetic and visual experience, run through the articulation, talk about the accessories and added value, and just give you as much information as I can so that you can make good solid decisions as a consumer. So let's get into it, and let's get started by jumping back in time and joining past Chris when he talks about the packaging on the day this first arrived on his doorstep. On my doorstep, because I'm past Chris, but in the future. Here we go. Okay then, folks, well, here is Guile in packaging then. Quick look at this for the mint in box collectors, and you can see that it's the Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 arcade machine motif that we've seen with the previous wave. So we've got the the buttons and the sticks at the top, the heads up display with the life bars there, which is all nice to see. Big window section here showing off the figure and all the goodies with the nice card back there, which is a Street Fighter 2 scene, Guile's name, Guile's image, so that's all lovely. I like these boxes. I mean, I'm not a guy who keeps the boxes at all, but I like these. They've got good shelf presence in the sense of being a toy shop shelf presence. I've mentioned before that I'm seeing these crop up kind of in the more high street toy spaces around here in the United Kingdom, and that's really great to see. And this is a great box for that kind of space, so really into it from that point of view. And here on the back we've got a action shot of Guile on this blue and black background, a load of Street Fighter 2 characters from the selection screen across the bottom, and I think we've had some of these already, but there's still a fair number to go yet. Then it's the same artwork on the side as with the other packaging. Got a little kind of file card piece here. Guile's country of origin is USA. His fighting style is martial arts and professional wrestling. And then got it available in a variety of different languages. And then some more of that manga style artwork on the other side. And that's it. There you go. There's your peek at the packaging and the peg presents. I'm going to go away and crack this bad boy open now, get a bit of hands-on man-child playtime in and gather some review thoughts. So stick around, because future Chris is going to be with you in a few seconds to share those review thoughts. 3, 2, 1. Right then, folks, well, here is Guile as he came out of the packaging. Well, almost, actually. The dog tags weren't on the figure out the packaging, but I've just not bothered taking them off because I've obviously had him out and been playing with him the last couple of days. And I'll start with a full kind of head-to-toe look. You can see that it is very much in line with the kind of style and aesthetic that Jada Toys have approached all these Street Fighter figures so far. Got a kind of cartoony sort of colour palette and tone to it all, which is fine because obviously they're leaning into the sort of video game aesthetic stroke cartoon comic booky style that you tend to associate Street Fighter with. Unless, of course, you're a hardcore Jean-Claude Van Damme fan or something. Where's he nowadays? I haven't seen him around for ages. Anyway, so yeah, it's nice. He's got this kind of colour palette and design choices to make it lean into that more kind of animated aesthetic. However, that said, I'll zoom in a second. There's still quite a lot of depth in there and a lot of texture detail to bring it more to life in the 6-inch plastic form. The head sculpt here is nice. He's got the classic Guile chiseled jaw there, very intense. About to get down into some street fighting combat look in his eyes. The paint applications are well applied there as well. Good features, good contours. So even though it is a bit kind of smoothed out to look a little bit more animated, there's still something going on. And of course, we've got the the key signature hairstyle of Guile there. The one of his main kind of identifying features. I feel like the figure's sort of exaggerated it even more than in the that it looks like in the game. I've not sat down and googled any images or anything. It just feels like it's really really up there, like Kid and Play style, you know what I mean? Most of my viewers will be at the right age to understand that reference. But again, that's got sculpted details in it. You can see on the top. Bit tough to see under my lights, but there's some textured detail at the top there as well, just to give it some texture, give it some depth. This is one or two heads. We'll have a look at the other head when we get to the accessory section a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, I like the head sculpt. It's working, sits well alongside the other Street Fighter characters from the Jada line too. no complaints there. And then moving down, we can see they've got that kind of exaggerated musculature, again, leaning into the kind of style and aesthetic of Street Fighter 2 there. He's got his vest on here, his string vest, and there's lots to like in here in terms of sculpted details. So it's got the kind of texture detail of the vest fabric, and then the sculpting not only of the musculature, but also the way the vest is kind of pulled over the front of the musculature. So there's these little kind of pull sections here, and there's a little bit of a wash to give it some shading and to really accent the pulled vest and the musculature. Just turn him around there so you can see what I'm talking about. It's even more apparent on the back there, can you see? Which is lovely. And also very nice to see, very well applied paint applications, no sloppiness at all, no kind of paint spill onto the skin tones either. Another signature identifying feature of Guile is his Stars and Stripes tattoo on his shoulders there. He's got one on both sides. Again, I think that's a decal or a paint application there, but it's nicely applied, good vivid colours. The red, white and blue, has got a lot of life to it, and it's the same on both sides. That's the other side there as well. Moving further down, we've got a nice paint application on the belt buckle. Always pleased to see that the belt loops are painted a different colour to the belt as well. Take note, Todd McFarlane. Nice brown leather belt in there. And then he's got his camo pants again with a kind of texture fabric detail in there just to give it some depth and character. Nice paint application. I mean, obviously very accurate to the character design from the game. And then onto his boots as well. Got paint application on the laces there, the two-tone, the brown leather, and then the green leather on the sides there, just to give it some depth, some sculpted shaping and lines in there, like the sole and the stitching and stuff. Once again, just to bring it to life. I'll talk about the dog tags now, even though technically it's an accessory, and I should leave it till the accessory and added value section of my video. These are all right. It's just like one of those little kind of cheap chain things with a pop clasp at the back there, and then the little plastic sculpted dog tag design on the front. It's a bit of a faff. I've been struggling to make sure that this chunky clasp at the back stays behind his neck so it's not kind of visible and getting in the way of some of the pictures I'm doing. The dog tags don't lie quite as nicely flat against his chest as I would have preferred. It's a little bit fiddly, but once you've got it where you want it, it's fine. Obviously, it's a low-cost solution, and also you've got to appreciate the fact that while the implementation might not be quite to my taste, it's nice to see that they've not just sculpted on the dog tags, that they've given it as a kind of additional loose piece of accessory, so it can have a little bit of motion and energy to it. So if he's throwing a punch or doing a kick in your photo, you can sort of angle it a bit to give it a bit of something going on, And that's about it. There's not a great deal else to say. He looks like Guile. He looks like Guile from Street Fighter 2. He's consistent with the tone and aesthetic of the rest of the line, fits well in the shelf displays. Everything's decent, So I suppose the only criticism you might have, your mileage will vary with this very much depending on how much you want them to lean into that kind of cartoony style, because it's obviously a bit more like the color schemes are a bit kind of vivid and flatter for that sort of two-dimensional animated look compared to what you might want. So if you were looking for something a bit more gritty in tone or a bit more moved forward, like, I don't know, G.I. Joe Classified, for example, then this might not be for you. But if you're looking for just full-on nostalgia, nice animated aesthetic look, then yeah, not a great deal else to add there. He looks like Guile. He looks spot on like Guile, and that's what you want, isn't it? So thumbs up for sure. Okay, so that's the aesthetic and the visual experience. Let's now have a quick walk through the articulation. Okay, folks, well, as always, if you're already familiar with the Jada Toys kind of articulation scheme, there's nothing particularly wildly different here, then you can skip ahead. I'll put chapter marks in down below, so please just jump on to the accessories and added value section if this is of less interest to you. However, if this is the first Street Fighter 2 Jada Toys review you've ever watched, or you're interested to see if there's any particular quirks with this guy, then stick around and I'll give you a quick rundown of the articulation. Starting up top here then, we've got a ball in the base of the head and a ball at the bottom of the neck. Gives us good down, good up, got the full 360 all the way around, and sort of, all this kind of tilt and swivel motion. Lovely and silky smooth. I've said this about the Jada Toys figures before. There's just something about the way they've made this articulation work. They just look at how easy and silky it is, or at least at this point. There is an area on this particular figure, spoiler alert folks, that doesn't feel as silky as it has done on other figures, but I'll get to that. Moving down into the shoulders, it's a pegged-in hinge there, so you can go all the way around full 360, get your T-shape there, pulling them out like so, and you've got the butterfly joint giving you a nice shuffle back and forward, and this is a really great butterfly joint, really good range of motion. And again, I'll point out, you can see, just look at the ease of motion in there. It's just silky. It's loose in the right way. I love it. Then we have a swivel at the top of the bicep and tricep there, a pinless double elbow that will get you up to there, and the pegged-in hands, which can swivel at the wrist there. And then these two fist hands that come on him out the box have got forward and back hinges, like so. In the main torso, we've got the joint, the barbell joint, diaphragm joint here that you can twist and swivel and turn on there. And then we've got a ball in the waist, which you can twist and swivel and ball and bend, which gives him a nice ab crunch in either direction and really helps your center of gravity when it comes to balancing him up for some more ambitious, more dynamic kind of combat type positioning. Moving down into the hips and the groin, it's the ball joints at either end there on the hips. This is the point that doesn't feel quite as silky or nice to me as it has done with previous Jada Toys figures. It's a little bit tight and crunchy, which doesn't make him feel like he's moving as smooth. You see that there? But you can get the kick forward, you can get the splits. It's, the range of motion is there, but it just doesn't quite feel as pliable and nice as it did do on like Ryu, Ken, Dalsim, some of the others that I've picked up. I think it's just the top of the leg, the thighs go really high up into the recesses of this groin area here, which means it just doesn't quite, the way this is sculpted around there, doesn't quite give you the nice silky motion that we've come to know and love from Jada there, which is a shame. However, what I will say is I've only, barely even heated this up. So a little bit of heat, I'm sure, will sort that out. But that's a key point as well. I don't feel like I haven't ever felt like with a Jada toy out the box that I've needed to do much heating up. The joints have always been just lovely right out the gate. Cracking on, you can see there's a swivel at the top of the thigh, a pinless double knee that'll get you up to there, swivel at the top of the boot, got a boot cut, and then the hinge and rocker on the ankles there. I mean, come on, the articulation is obviously really stellar with the Jada Toys. I mean, how many 6-inch figure lines can you get with, a single foot balance, kick like that? None that I can name, but I've been able to do it with all my Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 figures, stuff like this. And I've just thrown that together. I just did that here now, quickly. I didn't have to finesse it, faff about with it. Just the articulation, to use the phrase I've repeated many times, just silky smooth, loose but tight in all the right ways, and just that line of balance in there, just very, very well put together. So the articulation is a massive thumbs up. I mean, look at that. The world of opportunity that the articulation gives you for displaying, for playing, for photography, diorama displays, all that kind of stuff. Amazing. Really pleased with the articulation on these. That's just banging in it. Look at that. So there we go. There's the articulation, folks. Right, what's next? The accessory selection. Let's get into the added value, shall we? And the first accessory item on the list is the head swap here. You can see that this is a kind of gritted teeth kind of look about it. So the quality of the kind of facial shape, the contours, facial features, all that remains the same. However, a little bit more in terms of paint applications because you can see the teeth in there and everything. And that's fine. The way the sculpt is just really communicating the fighty thing that we got going on. Love again that opens up a wider world of possibilities for the type of posing and displays that you might want to do. Pick and choose the head that best suits the type of thing you're trying to pull off, and this is just as good as the more stern looking one that came on him out the packet. So very happy with that. All the sculpting details in the hair, everything's there. Great. Head swaps are just awesome, aren't they? They're a great piece of added value if you want to expand your playtime opportunity with it. So on board with that. Then we have the energy effective special move, Sonic Boom. There, which is nice. Got that kind of sort of swirly Sonic Boom pattern effect. This sort of transparent, orangey, yellowy colour to it as well. Catching the light there, you can see it's gold and these different kind of colour effects in it. A few sculpted details to bring it to life a bit more. That's then got this peg hole at the back to fit into this little stand that comes with it, so that you can use it. Sorry folks, I just knocked the base off there, so you can get it. Have him throw in the Sonic Boom. Although I seem to remember that the Sonic Boom was a bit more sort of that way in the games when I used to play it, and when you do it like that, it topples over. So you have to sort of have it at a bit of a slight angle like so, but that's fine. I must admit, it looks less aesthetically pleasing, I feel, than some of the other special move kind of energy effects we've had in the Jada Street Fighter 2 line, but, you know, it's a reasonably accurate representation of his powers, and I'm sure some folks have done some interesting stuff with that. And then finally, we've got a couple of hand swaps. We've got well, I say a couple of hand swaps and a comb look. So we've got this hand here, which is like the grippy hand to hold the comb, which is loose as well. You can take the comb in and out if you want to use that to grip onto something else. I don't know, use some other accessories from the bits box or whatever, but it's designed to hold the comb here. Pop that in there, and then we've got this kind of open palmed hand with the 2-finger point on it. Both of these have forward and back hinges on them, just like the other hands, so you can get him into the, you know, styling his hair sort of design, looking after his hair. It's fun. It's obviously a nod towards the classic Guile victory pose from the game there, which is lovely to see. I've found myself using this a lot less. I've sort of done one doing his hair pose, and that's been the end of that. This one here, though, is not too bad, actually, with the 2 pointed fingers. It kind of fits well for some kind of more combat style, Street Fighter-y style poses that you might want to get him into. So I've had him, you know, with it thrown open like that, or, oh God, I keep knocking this bloody thing over. Stay out of the way. So even though it's sort of part of the design to make the victory pose like that, you can use this one in a bit more of a range of stuff. And of course, this one is just a grippy hand. So if you wanted to, I don't know, give him a sword or something that he had hanging around, you could do if you were so inclined. So it's a decent accessory selection. Thumbs up, you know, it gives you a few options, a few posing options. It's fun to play around with, chop and change them about, make all sorts of different decisions around. I'm always a big fan of hand swaps and head swaps that widen your world of possibility when it comes to that stuff too. It's good quality, well thought out, got a bit of personality to it as well with the whole victory pose stuff. So yeah, what's not to like? Definitely a thumbs up. Totally enjoyed playing with them the last couple of days and messing around with them and doing different stuff with the heads and the hands and things. So yeah, all in. Right, okay, so that's what have I done? I've done it all. Oh, so let's have a look at him next to a couple of the other Jada figures now, shall we? All right, folks, want to get started. Here is Guile next to Ryu. Here he is next to my Dalsim on just a cheap Amazon flight stand there, floating in the air, meditating. Here he is next to his fellow wave mate Cammy, which will be my next review from this line. I'll probably get that one done in the next couple of days. And here he is next to Bison there, who just incidentally, had I done like a top figures list of 2025, would have been a contender for my top 10 for sure. I love this pickup last year. We also, Jada, if you're listening, hurry up with the, I need some more of the kind of boss baddies, need some of the more of the villains. My collection seems to be very good guy intensive right now. And I'll finish off with Chun-Li here, who I also have on a flight stand doing like a flying kick thing. I didn't review Chun-Li or Dalsim, actually, incidentally. So, I mean, the moment's passed now, but if anyone is interested, let me know. Well, here's Guile going around on the turntable, folks. You can get a 360 view of the figure, take a look at him from all sides. He's a bit wibbly-wobbly in this pose on my crappy turntable, but trust me, it's a solid pose. But I'll offer up a few final thoughts while you're taking a look at him there from all sides. And you know, the review speaks for itself. If you watched all the way to the end here, now you'll know I'm just blown away. The Jada line is excellent. At the price point that it's at as well, that's the other side of the story here, is that all of this for 25 quid is just outstanding. They really are embarrassing some of the other kind of 6-inch lines in terms of what's possible to do at this price point. Articulation is amazing. They're well put together. They really just communicate the vibe of Street Fighter 2, and I'm really pleased with that. And I would say, even if you're not that much of a Street Fighter 2 fan, if you don't have that kind of old Super Nintendo kind of button mashing nostalgia with your mates that perhaps folks of my generation had, I'd still maybe, if you've got a bit of cash knocking around, dip in, pick one up just for the action figure experience, is what I'll say, because they're really, really good. It's just about the wait for the next wave now, because, I've enjoyed these so much that I'm impatient. I'm impatient for a bit more, Jada. You're doing a great job. Very, very pleased. So I would highly recommend, definitely a MoDXtra Games and Collectibles recommends this guy, for sure. All right. Well, there we go. That concludes my review. Hopefully that was thorough enough that if you've been thinking about picking one up for yourself, you've got enough information to make a decision about your hard-earned cash there. If you have found it useful, do all the YouTube-y stuff, you know, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike. Let me know. Just make sure you press it twice to be 100% sure, you know. That's it. I'm done. So I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed the review. Love to see you around these parts again sometime soon. And I'll see you next time, folks. All right, take it easy.